You may not have noticed, but select targets in New York City have been under attack. Cyber attack.
Yeah, in the past few weeks alone, 3 hospitals in Brooklyn and the Metropolitan Opera have been hit by attacks that paralyzed their computers, forced them to find workarounds. So the Suffolk County government was hit in September as well.
Often it's ransomware. Criminals in cyberspace somehow get inside the target systems, freeze the computers, and hold them hostage for ransom. Here to tell us more about this is Kelly Mowan. She is head of the city's cyber command and the chief information security officer.
Kelly, good morning to you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So let's begin, Kelly, with the city, right? It seems like the city would always be a target. Have you detected cyber criminals, I guess, stalking city computers? Or has any New York City agency actually been hit yet, or is it all preventative measures?
Right. So here at Cyber Command, I head up New York City Cyber Command, and we're charged with protecting and defending city networks, city employees, over 300,000 of them, and the underlying systems that service New Yorkers. So our razor focus is making sure that we partner with public and private entities so we can enhance our cyber defenses and protect our agencies and ultimately New Yorkers from cyber attacks.
So, Kelly, you may not be able to give us specifics here, but how do you actually keep the city safe? And do you really focus on these major targets that could be disastrous if frozen, like transit, power grid, computers?
Yeah, absolutely. So phishing continues to be the #1 entry point for cyber attacks. So here in the city, we've really focused on increasing our resiliency to make sure that city employees are aware of how to spot cyber attacks through providing enhanced cybersecurity training. In general, though, I think it's really important to make sure that the individuals understand how to protect themselves. Whether they're protecting their personal lives or as part of a broader organization. And so I think 3 top ways that individuals can do that here in New York. First, strong passwords, right?
Yeah.
The longer the better. Studies have shown that the length is really, really important. So make sure you're not using your first name, your birthday. Think of a couple words, string them together, put some special characters in between them, and that's called a passphrase. And that can really help you out to protect those against those attacks.
So that's for like an individual, right?
Yes.
Okay, so while we're on that topic of just those passwords, because I often hear that people shouldn't set the same password for everything, right? Because some people are like,
Yes.
you log on to one thing, what was the password for this website? So you kind of just make it a uniform thing. How do you feel about that?
So you definitely want to make sure you use different passwords. And that's why I think the term passphrase comes in handy, because they're more easily recognizable or understood, right? So if you think about, remembering a couple words strung together rather than, a multitude of different characters and special characters, I think that can go a long way. You definitely want to make sure that you are using different passwords.
Right. And Kelly, how do these cyber criminals get into computers in places like One Brooklyn Health, hospitals, and the Metropolitan Opera? I mean, one would think organizations like these have these super safe firewalls set up.
And they likely do, right? I think the cyber attackers really can find any entry point to open the door for a cyber attack. So it's really important that individuals as part of the organization and the organization itself practice good cyber hygiene. As I mentioned earlier, phishing continues to be the #1 entry point. So you want to make sure that your systems are protected, but ultimately also that your employees or the individuals understand what not to click on, right? I think everyone probably has experienced, even in their personal life, either a text or an email that's offering them, right, buy a Dyson for $1. That likely, is too good to be true. So you want to make sure that you practice good awareness, so that you can more easily spot those types.
So help us understand, because I've seen a lot more of those text messages come through lately than normal. Not necessarily the Dyson example, but just like you've won some money, whatever it may be. What happens if you accidentally do click on whatever they are sending you? How in danger are you moving forward?
So it depends. I think that, in most cases, typically that link will take you to entering your credentials, your username, your password, and that goes back to why you don't want to use the same password for every single account. But another way that New Yorkers can protect themselves is making sure for the accounts that they do set up to enable multi-factor authentication, which essentially is choosing two different ways to verify that you are you. So it's another layer of protection that you can take. And most accounts out there these days, most big organizations and companies offer that as an option when registering.
Gotcha. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being here this morning, kind of navigating us through this. The password game is tricky at times, but we appreciate you being there and staying on top of it and keeping everybody safe from a cyber attack.
Thanks so much.